What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Wednesday. Now, let's get into the first topic of the day. Now, let's start off today's show congratulating the View co-host Alyssa Farrah Griffin on her pregnancy. She is currently expecting her first baby, which will be a baby boy, which is due on February of 2026, along with her husband, Justin Griffin. So, as the woman of the View reflected on some of their embarrassing or viral moments, Alyssa Farrah Griffin revealed she's pregnant and expecting a baby boy after Whoopi Goldberg expressed her shock. Fellow co-hosts Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Sarah Haynes all congratulated her as her husband Justin beamed in the audience. Okay, so this comes after several failed attempts of IVF treatment, by the way, and also one failed attempt in trying to get pregnant naturally. So this is really insane that Alyssa Farrah Griffin is finally pregnant, but I knew this whole entire time that Alyssa Farrah Griffin was going to end up getting pregnant because of the fact that I have noticed that throughout these past failed attempts of trying to get pregnant, she hasn't given up at all, and she's been saying that she's been dying to become a mother and so forth. And honestly, I really give it up to Alyssa for not giving up at all, because unfortunately a lot of women have given up in the past and in trying to become a mom, and they have been so sad and depressed about it. But I believe that Alyssa Farrah Griffin was also very patient throughout all of these failed attempts that she's been trying to become a mother, because of the fact that it has been like 3 years, I believe, that Alyssa Farrah Griffin has been trying to get pregnant. And 3 years to me is a very long time. But honestly, I feel like Alyssa Farrah Griffin really was like, okay, I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to really try my very best, even more this time, and to see what's going to happen with this other IVF treatment that I'm going to have. And let's wish for the best and let's hope for the best. And then Alyssa Farrah Griffin, ta-da, ended up getting pregnant after all. And I am so happy for her and I congratulate her. Now, I believe that Alyssa Farrah Griffin is going to be a really good mother after all, because Alyssa Farrah Griffin seems like the type of person that is a really good person and that is a really good mother and will be a good mother. That's what I'm trying to say. And I believe that she is also the type of person that really will pay a lot of her time towards her child after all, even though, of course, she is still going to be on The View. I believe so. And on CNN, I believe so. And it's also going to be a really good addition to the family alongside her dog that she has, because of the fact that I can imagine that the dog and the child are going to get along so well. It's going to be like a so good family companionship right there. And it's going to be amazing. Okay. But anyways, I can already imagine that the baby is going to look so adorable, because the baby, I can imagine, is going to look as good as Justin and as good as Alyssa Farrah Griffin, because let's remember that Justin Griffin is handsome and Alyssa Farrah Griffin is very beautiful. So there's also that. Okay, so this is so like a dream come true in my opinion, because I think that honestly, it's like the best thing ever having to have that announcement that after so many failed attempts, something has finally happened, And what's even more amazing is that, all of this came out of the blue moon, that Alyssa Farrah Griffin ended up getting pregnant. Because, there are just times where, unfortunately, out of the blue moon, bad things happen, where you're like, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, this other thing happened. But in this case, it's like, oh my God, out of the blue moon, a miracle finally happened. And it's like the best news ever, especially because we're ending 2025 with this amazing news. Now, I definitely knew this whole entire time that Alyssa Farrah Griffin was pregnant, because I remember watching in like the last few weeks of The View, and also watching in the first weeks of season 29 of The View, where Alyssa Farrah Griffin was already looking thick, but Alyssa Farrah Griffin wasn't saying anything. I remember. And I was like, yeah, Alyssa Farrah Griffin has to be pregnant, but she doesn't want to say anything just yet, okay? Because I noticed that her body was starting to look more wide, and I noticed that her baby bump was already starting to show, and so forth. And I was like, well, if Alyssa Farrah Griffin is really pregnant, then Alyssa Farrah Griffin is definitely doing a bad job on hiding it. So she really needs to reveal something already. So with all of that being said, I knew it this whole entire time that she's pregnant, and I think I have a really good eye when it comes to baby bumps. Okay, but anywho, congratulations to Alyssa Farah Griffin and Justin Griffin on the coming of their baby, which is coming on February of 2026. All right, now on to the next topic. So Dolly Parton isn't doing so good health-wise, and this is all according to Freida Parton, Dolly's sister. So Freida Parton just went onto social media last night to express that Dolly Parton's health was really bad and that we should all pray for her. Well, just this morning, Freida Parton went onto social media to say the whole entire contrary by saying that Dolly Parton is actually doing all right and that her health is not as bad as she said it was and that we should all not be concerned for her. Alright, so this is what I think. I think that Dolly Parton is actually doing really bad right now because of the fact that I did read some things that said that Dolly Parton is not doing so good because of the fact that she's having issues with her kidneys. And when you are having issues with your kidneys, that is so darn serious because we are talking about, those major organs that really keep us active with our blood and, of course, with infiltrating everything of our waste, I believe, in our body and so forth, and that is definitely very major, especially when it comes to an older person like Dolly Parton. And I believe that the reason to why Freida Parton ended up contradicting herself in her recent post that she made this morning on social media is because of the fact that she definitely does not want us to get concerned for Dolly Parton, and she definitely does not want us to go off and get scared and cry and so forth, especially because of the fact that the news, is already out that Dolly Parton isn't doing so good because of her kidneys. So I really am praying for Dolly Parton in all levels that her health gets to improve, especially because I know that Dolly Parton, I believe, is already like 80 years old already. And I believe that she is a great person. She is a warrior. She is an amazing singer and so forth. And, having to deal with that situation with your kidneys, I can't imagine how very distraught and how very exhausting and how very scary that is, because that's like really putting your life in a whole new danger right there because of the fact that, I believe that the kidneys, like I said, is like one of the most important organs of the body. And I believe that, Freida Parton really is in the situation where she's looking out for her sister, obviously, because it's her sister, and I can imagine that maybe she has been visiting her often in the hospital, and she's been, making sure that she is getting all of the care that she needs in order for Dolly Parton to, do well and so forth. And let's remember that Dolly Parton has a tour, I believe, this upcoming year, and she has postponed, I believe, the shows for the tour of this upcoming year because of the health struggle that unfortunately Dolly Parton is going through. And I really am hoping that she is able to get back on that stage really well by next year, so that way she will be able to see her fans again and her fans will be able to see her again, okay? And I hope that it's not that kind of situation where, like with Ozzy Osbourne, for example, he ended up with a huge health struggle, and yes, he was able to finish his tour, I believe, before he passed away, but however, he was like literally, unfortunately, dead after the tour ended. And I am hoping that that does not happen with Dolly Parton at all. I'm hoping that Dolly Parton ends up alive and well and that she gets to be with us for a while. Okay, so Dolly Parton, I really am rooting for you, girl. And you know what? I can tell that Dolly Parton is going to be surviving from all of this because Dolly Parton, she is so bright, she is so healthy, she is so up to the point that she is just very positive and upbringing, and she has all the support from Miley Cyrus, Billy Ray Cyrus, and from the rest of the Cyrus family. She really has this thing where she really is, on to her own health all the time. I can tell, okay? She has a heart of gold. She has an encouragement that goes all the way up to the ceiling. So honestly, I really am very hopeful and I'm very, very positive that Dolly Parton is actually going to survive from all of this. I am very positive and I am hopeful, okay? But anyways, on to the next topic. So Kim Kardashian is stepping into the spotlight of the courtroom. Her new legal drama All's Fair just dropped another trailer, and the reality star is showing off those acting skills. So it looks like Kim's going toe to toe with Sarah Paulson and their fierce all-female law firm, and no doubt she's had to bring her A game, especially facing one of Ryan Murphy's favorite actresses who always delivers on his projects. So at one point, Sarah literally leaps across the table to yell at Kim and later even copies her exact hairdo, proving their rivalry and obsession is very, very real. So the series also stars Naomi Watts, Niecy Nash, Teyana Taylor, along with Glenn Close, serving up iconic on-screen looks and OTT drama in a delightfully artsy, campy trailer. But it's the Skims founder who's truly seizing her moment to shine in the acting world, especially since the first trailer's summer release got overshadowed by her testifying in the Paris robbery case. Okay, so the All's Fair drops on Hulu on November 4. So this is really interesting that Kim Kardashian is going to be participating in a sitcom with iconic actresses like Glenn Close, for example. And she's going to be evolving in a courtroom, and she's going to be very serious, because I cannot be taking that woman serious at all. That woman is just straight up a clown. And I don't mean it in a mean way, okay? Because she has been in a reality show for a very long time. And of course, she's been well known for being in that sex tape years ago with Ray J and so forth. And I mean, I understand though that she is a lawyer, and she did study law, and I believe she even graduated as a law student. And I believe too that she even ended up in this series because of that. And I mean, I really see the connection. But yet again, I mean, I just look at her as this reality star that is just out there and outgoing and going crazy and so forth. I'm hoping that she's a good actress, because if she's a good actress, then this show is going to be really good, and this show is not going to be an embarrassment. But if she's going to be a very bad actress and she's going to be just dilly-dallying, just being weird, then I'm sorry, but this show is not going to work at all, and I can see a cancellation really soon. And I feel so bad for the whole entire cast, like Glenn Close and like the rest of the other actresses, like the one and only Sarah Paulson, and Ryan, and of course many other actresses that are also very good in the show, because I mean, they are all definitely rooting for this show to turn out to be a success, especially for Naomi Watts, Niecy Nash, for example. Okay, so Kim Kardashian, you really need to step up your game in this acting scene, girl, and you really need to make sure that you are definitely being yourself, and that you definitely are, you know, somebody that is more than just a reality star, and that you are also an actress, okay? An actress, for God's sakes, okay? Now, I can't imagine Kim Kardashian being so serious in a courthouse in a series like this, where she's just, you know, being very fierce, and she's being very, you know, straight up serious, and she's being straight up, you know, like going eye to eye with these other people in the courtroom and so forth. Like, I just can't, because it's just, you know, something that I believe that she will even have a hard time doing, in my own opinion, because like I said, she has been so into the reality show scene all these years. Okay, like all we need is Kris Jenner to be by her side, and all we need is Kylie Jenner to be by her side, and then there we go. We've got the serious Kardashians in one courtroom, and then from there it's gonna be, you know, a situation where, you know, it's gonna turn into one of those things where maybe I don't know, Kanye West is going to intervene, and then Kanye West is going to be, you know, going after these Kardashian chicks, and then from there it's going to turn into a little clownery series where, you know, this For All series, or this All's Fair series, is going to turn out to be a whole entire reality show 2.0, and then, you know, the next thing you know, it's going to turn into something that isn't going to be so serious after all. It's just going to be something that's going to be very laughable. Like, it's really funny, you know? So I don't know. I mean, Kim Kardashian has already spent some time in court anyways, at some points. I mean, especially I believe when she was with Kanye, if I'm not mistaken, and, you know, and other, you know, occasions. So I can imagine that she is used to this type of life anyways. But I mean, to be like in a courtroom and for her to be serious and for her to like, like be in a situation where she is basically like one of the people, I believe, that she works in a courtroom. Now that I can't imagine. That right there is like very different to me. So anyways, let's just see what happens here. Let's just see what freaking happens. And let's just see exactly what Kim Kardashian is going to be seen as, and if people are going to like her role. I don't know. But anyways, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.